Right. Very, very good morning, Shubham. How are you doing?
Good morning, ma'am. How are you? I'm good. I'm good.
Just a second. Yes. How are you doing? How is life? It's so beautiful to see you after such a long time.
I'm good, ma'am. I'm good. How are you? How are you?
Good, great. So, Shubham, I think it is very exciting to be sharing this platform with you today. And I see that there are a couple of us who've joined us in the Zoom, and there are a few of them who are joining us on YouTube Live. So, let us make it engaging and involving for everyone. And how about knowing our profile of participants to get started before we kind of formally take it forward? So, here, guys, to every one of you who's with us this morning. Let us see if you're able to scan this poster. So you may use your mobile phones to scan the QR code and just give us a thumbs up or a heart if you're able to use this QR code. If there's anyone facing a challenge, please feel free to make use of the chat window in the Zoom link. And supposedly you're facing a challenge in scanning the QR code. On the top of this slide, you see a link menti.com, and there's a QR code there. Could we have some confirmations if you're able to scan it, not scan it? So when you scan it, it will take you to this poster, and on the bottom of the screen, there should be a heart. Oh, yes. Thank you so much. That's great. Please keep rolling because that is how we'll make this interaction, a webinar, to be very interactive. Thank you so much for all the hearts, and they can keep coming in as we move forward. So, I guess all of you all into this webinar call might have written the SAT exam, right? Or might be planning to write a few other entrance exams as you move forward. Shubham, on to you. So you completed your BCom from DU in 2015 and you did your MBA program in 2019. So when is that you wrote your CAT exam? How did your exam go? How are you feeling when you were waiting for the results and preparing for what laid ahead of you?
So I gave my exam in 2018 November end, and there was a lot of anxiety during the exam time. Like as
Mm-hmm.
we were approaching the exams, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure. Will we be able to make it, or is it still going to be a question? Am I going to end up doing an MBA, or I'm going to get my selected colleges, or I'm going to be getting my selected fields? Am I really ready for it or not? So there were a lot of anxiety questions which were going inside my head before the exams, like a normal student face those before any exam of his life. So I was also facing those, but I was very clear with my path. Like I had worked for a couple of years before, pursuing my MBA, before pursuing my master's. So I was very sure the what field I'm going to take, what I'm really looking forward to, what I really want, and what I'm really aiming for myself at the end of the day, what I really want. So with that inside my head and with that confidence, I was like, it's time and we are ready for our masters. That's when I gave my CAT. And post the results. So
No,
results.
wait a second, Shubham. So we'll not get to the result. We are all in the stage where we have written our CAT, but waiting for the results. How did your CAT exam go?
It was like any other CAT exam, but it was very different because we were following not the same pattern which was getting followed in the past couple of years. So on
Mm-hmm.
a pattern basis, it was a little tricky. Plus, I remember as far as I remember, my English questions were a little tougher than what I had practiced. So,
Ah.
and the
Mm-hmm.
first set you get is English to
Mm-hmm.
first go with. So it was a little tougher than what I had practiced in my previous exams. Surprisingly, quant was easier than what I had
Okay.
seen. But data
Mm-hmm.
interpretation, you can't even guess what's going to happen in data interpretation. So it was always a surprise for me. So yeah, the pattern has been changed a bit in my exams, and I think it does change regularly over year basis. So yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was.
That's great. So let us see what our audience is doing right now. So, guys, to all of you all who've joined us today, what is it you are doing currently? So you should be able to see on the phones where you scan this QR code, or else feel free to scan it again. Um, what is it you are doing currently? Are you studying your undergraduate? Are you working somewhere? Are you undergoing an internship? Or this year you're just preparing for the steer and navigation in your life, or you're taking some certification programs, upskilling? So what is that you are doing currently? So we should be able to see your responses on the screen. Yes, thank you so much. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So we have about 50% of the people, 40% who are working, and 40% who are studying and upskilling. We have some responses already, and as more responses keep coming. So, Shubham, that's a very interesting response that we see on the screen. About 40% of them in the audience are studying, about 40% of them are working. And I see that you also worked for some time before you decided to join your MBA. So, what was in your career after your BCom that made you decide that, okay, MBA is what I want to do?
Those 4 years in between where I was trying to figure out what I really want to do in my life. So during that 4 years, I worked with a mediocre credit firm where we were a part of where I was doing the accounting part, but that was not so interesting. So we really went on the investment side where we were managing portfolios for small group of individuals with small capital. But it was very interesting. That really got me intriguing. Like finance is a career where I can, like think about stepping up as I'm good with numbers, I'm good with companies, I'm good with balance sheets, I'm able to process things in a much faster way. So that is something that I was able to bifurcate uh, as my key area where I can excel in my life and maybe find other and different opportunities to learn more things because I believe learning is the first thing which should ever come to your mind, like before aiming for any goal. So, from a learning perspective, it really got me intriguing. And, like when I talk about finance, I really talk about the international markets or the global markets or the geopolitical position that India is actually in. So, it really got me more appealing and more excited to pursue. And MBA is, I believe, is a program which gives you that opportunities. It lets you link yourself more with the global world. It makes you more aware and see things. I believe it adds a bit more perspective to your life than what you really have and helps you think in a much broader way.
That's amazing. So I hear, Shubham, you essentially think, like you thought of doing MBA essentially for three reasons. One is your job then, right? Probably the profile of the company, the profile of the work you said was there, but not very, very exciting, right? It was mediocre. Second, this zeal to learn and grow further, right? And then learn more, get a greater, grander exposure is what made you decide to do your MBA. Absolutely. So, to all our audience right now, right, I'm sure they have their reasons to your MBA, guys. And please, we would love to hear from you. What is that made you do your MBA? Feel free to make use of the chat and the question answer window that's available to you. Keep writing questions because I think we will be talking and taking questions from Shubham for the first 15 minutes, but then all the questions would be and answering your questions. So keep writing to us. So, Shubham, back to you. So after you wrote your CAT exam, you said there were sections that went well, sections that did not go well, and but you were confident all this while, right? The CAT results would be coming usually January first week or like before 10th Jan, and thereafter the interviews and group discussion processes they start to happen. So how do you think, and then, especially given the fact that the MBA program in all the good business schools would usually begin in July, right? So we have time till now, from today, or maybe since the last couple of months, till July or maybe June next year. So how best do you think we do the following? Number one, how do we prepare and make use of this time till we appear in the interviews? And second, while that is something that's on, can we do something that's more rewarding in the MBA program when we started in July?
So to begin with, like, you don't get a day off, to be very honest, once you give your exams. So once you're through with your exams, there is no point in dwelling what you have done and what are the right answers. It's very serious. Like, you want to do, the next step is you start preparing for the interviews. So there are key areas which I think that one should start working upon as soon as your exam gets finished. Is first to try to have a good vocal skills. You should be able to articulate yourself in a much better way. You should be able to express yourself in a much better way, because once you sit in those interviews, all you are speaking is getting noted and getting judged, to be very honest. Whether it's a job interview or it's an MBA interview, you sit in any interview, you will get judged. So you have to articulate yourself in the best possible way where you are able to state all the right points, key skills about you. Second is you need to have a very good control over your body language. The way I raise my hand or the way I walk into that interview room, or even if I'm sitting outside that interview room, is also getting noted. So your body language should show that you're a very confident person and you know what you're doing. You have a clear aim in your life. So, I mean, if you don't even have a clear aim in your life, that's also okay. I mean, that's also get judged upon, but that's totally fine. But the confidence should be depicted from your body language. That's very, very important. Third is you need to do a SWOT analysis on yourself. You need to understand what are your strengths, weaknesses, and what are your opportunities that you really want to take up in your life. And you should be able to articulate the same to the interviewee. Because this is how the thing goes. The CV is the best depiction of myself. So your CV should just reflect your strength, weakness, opportunities, and everything else. There is no harm in stating your weakness because those are the key areas that you are developing yourself in. So even the person who is listening to you, he also acknowledges the same, that you're well aware for what the things you need to work upon. So I think that's very, very important. And the best thing that really gets you in the interviews is being honest. The person who is listening to you has listened to 100,000 more people before you. So you need to be honest over there. You cannot hide. They really know everything about you that is there. So these are the areas that I really worked upon during my preparing for my interviews, even for my job. Also, I keep these things in line. So yeah, I would advise this. If you can have this,
Right. Great. So you said communication, be that your articulation or your body language, they're very important. Knowing yourself, the self awareness, your own SWOT analysis is very important. And of course, being honest is very important, and having clarity on what you want in life. It's okay even if you are not clear, but be honest about it,
yeah.
right? And okay, thank you so much. So, Shivam, that's a perspective from a person who's appeared in MBA interview process, has appeared in jobs. So Wipro in your placement process was like, did you appear in more number of companies before you got picked up by Wipro? So how was the Wipro process?
So to be honest, I was in my second year, COVID came into the picture. So a lot of opportunities got stuck because of COVID. So Wipro was one of the companies that were coming into the campus for interviews, which we were really grateful for. And during the Wipro process, I mean, honestly speaking, it was a 15 minutes interview that convinced my manager to hire me. And in those 15 minutes, she was able to understand if I have a work experience, how am I articulating, would I be able to perform the kind of job roles that they have with them? So within that 15 minutes of span, I had to convince her to hire me. So that was a very hard task. And plus, I think I was able to communicate myself in a much better way for those 15 minutes in my entire life. That really led to my hiring. Because, I mean, first thing is, if you also analyze 15 minutes, 10 minutes is going to be a conversation between her and you, where she's also speaking and you're also speaking. So you get only 10 minutes out of it. You get only 5 or 4 minutes to really express yourself. And you have to express yourself in a way where you need to convince them that your goals are in line with the organizational goals, which means that hiring you will benefit them and you as well. So this is why I say like communication has to be precise, direct, no here and there, no if and buts. So you have to be very direct, on point about it, and very clear with things. This will only
That's
help you
great.
out.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you. So, be that the MBA selection process, or be that the Wipro selection process, or be that any process where you are looking forward to your candidature being selected, right, becomes very important. And Shubham, thank you so much. That was like a very beautiful gist of things. And now I'll share the viewpoint of when we, in the business schools, when we carry the interview process, right? So usually the number of applicants are way, way more than the number of seats that we have, right? And we are very eager to pick up the best of the candidates, right? But in doing so, you're absolutely right that it becomes very clearly if the candidate is being honest, right? Uh, and now, kind of somebody who is with all the audience here, it how do you crack those interviews? Of
So
course,
yeah.
yes. So I think Shubham, communication. So one can of course brush, add to the vocabulary, but now that we are, let us say, just about a month away from those interviews, right? Last minute prep. I cannot do much on my articulation. I cannot. My heart would go dhak 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 dhak. My palpitation
Yeah.
will happen. Maybe I'll fumble because I'm nervous. But I think overall, that positive visualization and reassurance whenever you think of that interviews really help, right? So even
Yeah.
your heart might be going tat 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 with a speed and a volume that you think even your ears can hear, but it's okay because the interviewer won't be able to hear it. So positive visualization becomes very important. Every time you think of interview, it has to be a positive affirmation, right? So this is something that needs training. Communication, I think Shubham very beautifully said, is something one would really have to keep practicing through and through. But Shubham, the last 1 month prep for an interview, what do you think are the kind of things that our audience should be mindful of?
So in the last 1 month, so these are the key areas, like I said, articulation, body language, honestly, something that gets worked upon during, like MBA time. If I have to say about the last 1 month, get yourself more aware about the world. Having general awareness is very, very important these days because if you go out, the technology is changing like anything. What I know today is obsolete tomorrow. So, getting a general awareness about what's going on in the world, especially with respect to the field that you're really aiming for. And if you don't have a field that you're aiming for, then also having a general awareness is a key factor because during interviews, they can ask you about random things like, what is your opinion about India's situation in the World Cup? In the football World Cup, not the cricket World Cup, because everybody knows about cricket, but nobody knows much about the football World Cup or the hockey World Cup. So having a general idea is very, very important. Like general awareness what geopolitical situations or sports situations in India. So I think this is something that you can work in that 1 month time span that you have.
That's very right, Shubham. And you very rightly said that it is not just knowing the things, but it is also thinking what you think about things,
Yeah,
right? And I think if you can get a partner to just talk, that helps you find the right kind of words, right kind of articulation, which really helps you when you say it finally in that
yeah.
interview process or in the group discussion. So that's one. Uh, uh, Shubham, so one is prep. Any other thing that you think becomes very important? Something like knowing yourself, because guys, I'm sure Shubham would agree with me on that. Opening question, usually in an interview, is please tell us something about yourself.
True, true.
Right? We know that this is going to be a question, and in spite of that, students, the opening statement usually is, "I am so and so." Of course, the interviewer knows that this is who you are, but if you could start with using some evidence driven adjectives for yourself, things like, "I'm an enthusiastic sports person," right? "I follow so and so sports," right? "I wish to participate in so and so thing." So that happens, and it kind of comes across as somebody who is very well prepared. So knowing yourself and supporting those adjectives. So it could be an enthusiastic, it could be a problem solver. So let us try to kind of turn the tables now and see that, be that the Wipro team, Shubham, that was interviewing you, or be that the business school who is interviewing you, what are the kind of students any business school or any organization would want? They want people who are team player. They want people who are problem solvers. They are people who are ready to roll their sleeves up and be there on the floor as a positive contributor. Somebody who would slog but deliver and meet the timelines.
True,
Ha-
true,
Hanas? And
true.
then thinking which of these traits I am closest to. It's okay because we keep growing, right? Assuming that our audience is in the age bracket of 20 to 24 to 26 years of age, right? It is okay if we are still growing on that. That is a biological and an emotional process, would take time. But what is it I'm closest to? And can I kind of have that positive affirmation to say that, okay, this is what I am? And then trying to figure out in life the instances and examples where you have lived them. Right. So we have a couple of questions, Shubham. How to use the post cat period effectively, right? I think we kind of discussed that knowing the world around us, being
It's very
self-aware.
important.
Do you
Yeah.
think picking up some internship once they get the offer, let us say they get the offer in Jan Feb, because usually business schools at time offer some good scholarships if you accept their offers in Jan and early on in the program, right? So how best do you think, once with the offer in the hand, one can make use of the time?
So honestly speaking, there are two things that really help you excel, that literally try to give you a closer perspective to what goes out in the corporate world is internships and life projects. I mean, as a student, my job is to make sure I'm keeping my professors busy by asking for projects or for a research matter or sharing my research with them and trying to understand if what I'm really thinking about the markets or what I'm really thinking about this world is actually the right way to think. What I'm really assessing the industry is going, what I'm really assessing how the competitors are really working is the right, like I'm on the right path. So making your professor's life hell is, I think, a job of a student. Sorry to say that now, but yeah, I think then because people who are industry experts, I really find it very surprising that we go out and look for industry experts, whereas our professors themselves are much aware about what's really going on, and they can guide you in a much better way because they have seen a lot of students who interpret things in a very different way, and they can really teach you to the how to get to the right path over there. So having a good communication with the professors is very, very important, I think, in an MBA program that's gonna help you develop that key skill that is required for a job. I think that gets developed over there.
Sure. So I think making use of the opportunities and the support
Yeah.
system becomes very, very important. Absolutely. So, guys, we had some questions that we thought that we'll cater, but then I think we'll jump straight into the kind of questions that you are asking us right now live, so that maybe these finding answers to these questions would be more relevant to you. So, and I'm just screening the questions in a way that first we are taking questions about generic MBA program, right? So, does the college take admission even without CAT? Shubham, what do you think of like the colleges which are not looking at the CAT exam? Is it a good idea to consider? Uh,
I I think CAT exam is very important for your life because your MBA does not start when you take an admission or the first lecture you attend. Your MBA starts when you start preparing for CAT.
Absolutely. 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 And this, guys, is very important. It's not just CAT. So, supposedly, for whatever reasons, your CAT exam did not go well, or maybe you did not write the CAT exam for whatever reason. I think it is a prep that really makes a difference. So, if it's not CAT, look for NMAT, right? Look for GMAT. But the idea is this prep of brushing your ELQ, your English language proficiency, your quantitative skills becomes very important. So, yes. So, even if there is a business school that offers you admission without CAT, do not miss on the preparation, because I think, Shubham, usually courses like um, problem solving, Excel spreadsheet skills, your basic statistics, they would all expect you to be good in quants, right? And they
Yep.
usually are in the first semester,
Yeah.
right? So, Shubham, there's a question that says how to speak clearly and confidently. Um, any tips there?
Practice in front of a mirror. Like record your voice and play it back. If you can understand yourself, that's the best thing that you can do. Then you really know if my language is right, if I'm pronouncing the words correctly. If I can't understand myself, then how can I expect others to really, like get what I'm really trying to say? Also, like, depends what kind of a language you're practicing. Like, if you want to go for English, I would recommend start watching some series or movies so that you can really get the hang of the accent, because the Australian English is very different from New York English. British English is very different from the American English. So the accent plays a very major role that I've also realized while working with a lot of our global counterparts. Like I work a lot with the Luxembourg people, British people, as well as the New York team. So we see the change in the accent. Everybody's trying to communicate the best that they can. But what I'm getting from the accent that is being said, so that's very important. So I think that's how you can start practicing. If you want to learn French, start watching some French movies, how they are pronouncing the words, because it's very tricky. So these practices that you can do is the best way to help yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. And whenever you read something, whenever you watch something, saying it back to yourself becomes very important. Um, or seeing yourself think that if I was to say this to somebody, right? So there is this very beautiful term called metacognition. So metacognition essentially is seeing your mind think what the mind is thinking.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, sounds a little convoluted, but what do I think about this? Right? So the thoughts are already there, but trying to see those thoughts becomes very important for you to improve your communication, pick up the right kind of vocab, fluency, articulation. All right. Thank you so much. So moving to the next one is how to choose a specialization, right? So, usually in many business schools, the first year is generalist profile. You study all the subjects and you get an option to choose your specialization in the second year. But then there are some MBA programs where upright you say, okay, MBA marketing or MBA, whatever specialization is what I want to do. So, how can one know this is where my heart is?
that's a very tough question, I must say, and a very good
Mhm.
question as well, because I have seen a lot of my friends who were doing economics as their bachelors. They gave up economics once they finished their, like the third year of their bachelors, they gave up economics. So I mean, you really will never get a straight answer to this, like what you want to do in life or what do you really want to pursue. I can best suggest you, like, if you have an experience of working somewhere of a particular field and you really like it, you have your interest in it, you understand it in a much better way, that is something that you can pursue your masters in. And it's okay if you don't have a field. It's totally okay. Then you can do a lot of internships, a lot of live projects of various other fields to get an understanding how they really process in the big world, in the corporate world. So from there you can develop your understanding, and it's fine. And it's also great to have hobbies, to be very honest. Like, I am finance major, I work in finance, but I do like the marketing aspect of things. So I really read about it also. So it's good to have hobbies. So it's okay if you have two interests or three interests. That's perfectly fine. You can excel in those as well. So firstly, like, if you worked, it's great. If you want to pursue yourself into that particular industry, go for it. If you don't have anything fixed for yourself, explore, experiment. Maybe you will realize you are good with arts, or you're good with some of history subjects. Then you can develop something over there. I mean, world right now has opened to a lot of opportunities post COVID. So just make the best of it, is I think is the best I can suggest.
Right. And guys, Ayushi had asked this question on how to choose specialization in MBA. Ayushi, I hope um, you got insight into how to go about this. Is finding where your heart is becomes very important. And at times, right, when you're not very sure, maybe choose an MBA program that gives you an opportunity to first experience all the specializations and then decide what is that you want. So probably going undecided with a track the first year, and then as you study all the courses, you speak to industry mentors, you attend the career counseling sessions organized by the business schools, like at BMU, having career counseling sessions for all specializations, be that finance, marketing, business analytics, ops. Time to time, what are the career opportunities? So those are the kind of opportunities that help you figure out what is that you want to pursue. And I must say one thing that's very important, and Shubham, do share your thoughts on this, right? The way the world is unfolding, it is the skills and competencies that becomes way more important, right? So even if you are a generalist profile, but you have the following skill sets and three broad categories of skill sets. The first one is, of course, your communication skills. Second is your ability to have a helicopter view of the problem, your problem solving skills, right? Your cognition things. How do you even understand what the problem is? So if you are able to define the problem, half the job is done. So that ability to have a helicopter view of the problem, and then, okay, what's the objective? What is that I want? What is the problem if that's what we are facing, so on and so forth. And it's only that gets into technical skills. So, which essentially means if you are a finance major student, right, then understanding your balance sheets. And if you are a business ethics student, understanding the coding, right, marketing framework, so on and so forth. So, essentially, two-thirds of your success lies in your communication skills and your cognitive skills. Shivam, you think that makes sense?
100 to 100%. It makes sense to me. Like, because right now I'm part of a very big firm, and we're also trying to come up with solutions from a technology perspective that can best assess the data that we have on hand with us. So I don't know technology, but I can sit with the technology team and I can tell them what I really want. So, but to have this kind of an attitude where you are looking forward towards a solution, not towards what the real problem is, like how big the problem is, but rather solving it one day at a time. That's
Hmm.
kind of an attitude that really helps you get achieve big goals in life. Not just looking for a job, but even if you're working as an entrepreneur, your job is to solve problems. And this is where it all starts, to have that kind of an attitude. So I 100% agree with you, ma'am, on this.
Right. Yeah. Great. So I hope, guys, that helps. The next question is, what will the admission process for BMU look like in situations where CAT exam did not go as planned? So, Deepak, that's okay. CAT is important, but that's not the end of the world. So, if you are very sure, I one is assuming that you've written some other exams and scored decently. Please feel free to share those scores. And as Shubham very rightly picked up, At BMU, entrepreneurial mindset is very important, right? So, can you think out of the box? So, CAT score is only a certain percentage of your overall profile. It is you as an individual, what you bring on the table, what is your reason for doing the MBA that becomes more important. So, it's okay. Don't sleep nights over CAT result that may not be as good as you expected it to be. Right. So we would request, okay, so Namrata is already, yeah. So Momita Das says, what extra things I can learn apart from MBA studies if I will get a chance at BMU? So Shubham, I know for you 2 years, of the two, 1 year was COVID, not enough. But then would you know that usually at BMU, when the students are on campus, so you would have seen your seniors in your first year, right? So what are the kind of opportunities that students get to experience at BMU? Except the MBA thing that happens to them.
So my experience was great because I was a very competitive guy and I used to take part in a lot of competitions. So we even went to IIM Sirmaur where we won a trophy. So we came second. Not me, there was another team, but yeah, we came second. So it gives you a lot of opportunities, to go to other campuses, compete with them, and it helps you build a network for yourself where you get to see similar kind of people like you working in a different state, different, like a state, part of a different program, kind of a different college, but you are both on the same line where you're trying to figure your life out for a job. So you create a lot of network for yourself that really helps you down the line because it's good to know people in other states who are also doing a similar kind of a program because having connections is what really helps you succeed in life. So BMU gives this opportunity. Plus, BMU has it was very young when we came in, and they didn't had any clubs at that time, and we started with one club, which is still running. I've heard. So participating in those club activities is very very important because you can arrange such competition and you can invite other colleges to your campus, and you can lay out an entire program how to compete. And I'm telling you, it's not an easy task. It's like you started up a project and you try to execute that project where you try to find the funding, marketing, and everything else. So it's a good way to experience what you have learned to try to apply it on a real life basis and see how good you are at it and what all you can do to become better. So BMU gives you that kind of opportunities, which I really liked at my time. So and yes, there were a lot of internal competitions also that we organized for our batchmates. So trying to test your skills with them, like I said, I was very competitive back then. So it was a great experience for me, to be very honest. Plus, I would also like to say that the faculty was very supportive for us because during COVID times, when we were working from home, like we were attending a lot of lectures. I remember I was after my professors for live projects, and that's where they shared a lot of live projects and research with me. So I was able to understand and develop my learning in a better way of the things that I was really aiming for. So yeah, that was my experience.
That's great, Shubham. And I think it is usually up to the students to make leverage those opportunities. So opportunities are around, right? But then I'm sure if it's a class of, let us say, 300 students, of that, it's only the students who very passionately pursue those opportunities would get them. But given the number of clubs, so now, Shubham, I think there are about some 39 odd clubs, one club for each specialization, be that marketing, HR, and the students are doing amazingly well there. And then the placecom team now, right? That position in itself has become very aspirational. So place being a part of placecom team, being a part of BMU ambassadors, and then there are opportunities within the university for students to work and earn, right? So that is not so much for the money per se. Of course, I mean, money is a good thing to come, but then what becomes important is that you get work experience. So let us say you decide to work in the library, right? And you're working a couple of hours each week wherever you have lean classes, right? It's the competence that helps you appear in your final placements, and these opportunities are even more important and interesting for participants who do not have a prior work experience. So yeah, with this whole gamut of clubs, societies, committees, leadership role in student council, right? Participating in various projects, social projects, and social entrepreneurial projects. So, Shubham, unfortunately, in your time with COVID, you were not able
Yeah,
to, but now the rural immersion program, they are amazing. So, yeah,
good to hear
I
that. Good to hear that.
yes. So, Momita, I hope you got a sneak peek into what happens in BMU besides the classes. And of course, internship is an integral part, which Shubham also suggested that it's not just internship, but live projects, opportunities to travel abroad with all our international partners, be that Imperial, be the London School of Business, be that Warwick. So each let us say in about November, December onwards, you start to get opportunities from different universities, the partner university that you can go and do your internships in. Right. Are there any more questions that we missed on? Uh, just scrolling to the top. Which field is good for a better future?
All of them.
Good. I
All of
love that
them.
response. And why do you believe that, Shivam?
I believe, like, if you talk of, okay, so to be very honest, there is no one specific field. I mean, today, the world that we are living in, there is always a combination of two or three things. So, like, if I have to talk about myself, I did my major in finance, and data analytics was kind of my minor subject. But the kind of work I'm doing right now, it's inclusive of finance, compliance, and operations. So that's what I'm trying to say. There is no one particular field which anybody is looking for. It is the combination of things that people look out for. So all of them are very good opportunities. It's up to you how you upskill yourself, how you train yourself, how what are all kind of things you can learn and assess, and you can take it as a career forward. Like pursue and do further modification into that, or a combination of two or three different streams, and kind of make a new product out of it or a service out of it that can be solve a lot of problems and can be assessed monetized in the future. So all of them are good opportunities. It's up to you which you want to choose and how you want to upskill.
Right. And then I think, given the organic linkages between all the disciplines, your ability to see, so say, for example, the market share of a company's product is going down. It's a problem. But do you think it's a marketing problem? Do you think it's a finance problem? Do you think it's ops problem? Do you think it's a strategy problem? Problem is a problem, right? And it's your ability to draw from different disciplines that makes you um, covetable by the companies, and the promotions follow. Shubham, I must congratulate you for all the good work at Wipro's 3 years and one selection, two promotions, right? From a
Yeah,
management trainee to an analyst to a senior analyst. I'm so very proud of you. So,
thank
to
you.
our audience, right? So we spoke of right now after they've written their CAT exam to how to prepare for the CAT exam, right? What to do before they finally join their program. We spoke of what they should be doing in the 2 years of their MBA program to kind of get hold of and leverage all the opportunities around. But then to last leg, how to prepare for the placements. And once you are in the company, how do you get the promotions the way Shubham Aggarwal got?
So the only answer to this is hard work, nothing else. Like if you work, so how to crack the interviews? The best thing is you should have a knowledge about the subject. Like subject knowledge is what really helps you to crack the interviews, because they're gonna grill you, they're gonna ask you all set of questions, everything from basic concepts from your class 12th till what you have learned in your MBA. So having a subject knowledge is what you're able to crack, how you're able to crack the real interviews for any job, any profile which is out there. Also having a good understanding about the company's profile and the profile which is offered to you plays an added advantage, because then they know that you have some kind of a sense of what the organizational goals are or what are the expectations from you. So having your research on the company and about the job profile is also very, very important aspects of it. So if everything plays well, if you're able to like show your subject knowledge. You're able to show how your goals are in line with the organizational goals. And if you have luck, then you can crack the interviews.
It's very
Which
good. So hard work
is
is
the key.
the key,
Yeah.
right? And then hard work in a very driven way. So it has to be smart work, right? While you're slogging. Absolutely, Shubham. And I so much see and agree to that point. So, Shubham, there are some questions that normally the participants ask. Things like, what are some affordable ways to improve the profile for an MBA interview if one doesn't have a work experience? So, normally in an interview MBA selection process, right, work experience becomes very important. But if one doesn't have it, do you think there is a way around things like volunteer work, picking up some internshala or stuff like that? Any
Yes,
thoughts?
yes, of course, of course. So if you do a lot of freelancing, that's gonna help you out. If you
And how do
do
they find the freelancing opportunities?
so, like, if I have to say, there is a portal. I'm forgetting the website that gives
Internshala?
you. Yes, Internshala is there, and there are other portals as well that list a lot of freelancing work. Like if you're into digital marketing or graphic designing, so they will list out a lot of opportunities for you. You can log into those websites and take up those jobs. It's also paid as well, so that's gonna help you out. But even if it's not paid, if it's kind of a free work, then also you can add it to your CV and you can show like what all experiences, what are internships, life projects that you have done. Also, I believe social media is a great platform. So if I am doing an equity research on a particular industry, just post it on social media with the comments. And if anybody is interested, they will start a chat with you on LinkedIn, and then it's gonna, like attract a lot of attention, and it's gonna help you also to learn a lot of things. If somebody is an industry expert who has a comment for you, so it will help you also drive yourself in a much better way for the next live project that you're gonna do. So, I think social media is a good platform to market your work. So if you don't have work experience, do internships, do projects, share it on social media. What is your learning? What did you do to help them achieve what they have achieved? So, I mean, that's the best way that you can market yourself on these things.
Absolutely. And this work, or maybe you have had work experience in the interview, right? How do you present work becomes very important. So say for example, um, as we discussed earlier, that normally the opening question is, please tell us something about yourself, right? So, just like the way Shubham said, posting your work on social media or whatever you might have been researching while you were waiting or preparing for this interview, saying that I am a very research driven person. Like very recently, I conducted something, something, something. So, it's not just the work experience, but what you gained out of that work experience in terms of competencies that has to be projected, because the moment you wear the hat of the interviewer to see why and what is that the interviewer is going to judge is Shubham's word, right?
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I would not use that word, judge, but then, yeah, evaluate, assess. So, what is the impression that the interviewer would carry? So, don't say, I worked with so and so company for 3 years. I mean, anybody could work right from this data entry to probably taking very critical decision making skills basis the research that one might have conducted. So present the competency in the work and not just the number of years of work there. Right. So just
Agreed.
moving on the next one, Shubham, we have what all does your placement cell do? So here the placecom support, what do they do, and especially with a kind of batch size. So Shubham, maybe that's something that's slightly yeah, Jurassic for you, or would you remember
Yeah.
how and what kind of place come support did you get?
I was part of Placecom, so I
Oh,
have a
this is mouth then, please go ahead.
yeah, like so when I was part of the Placecom, I realized that it is more of a responsibility than a job for me as being an active member over there. So, firstly, like as part of the Placecom, there are a lot of things that we do. So, for if I have to talk about getting the internships, like try to get and assess the internships, what are the good opportunities for the kind of students that are there in my batch. So. getting those to the college is very, very important. Also, organizing a lot of sessions with industry experts to guide students as to what's really going on in the outside world and what you should be really aiming for. What are the various other opportunities, like getting, supposedly getting at during my time at BMU, we had this particular seminar which happened where we were getting 10 minutes to talk with every industry expert from various fields.
Momentum, yeah.
Yes, 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 momentum. So organizing such events is kind of a very important part of a placecom when you're a member of the placecom, because you have to reach out to all these experts.
So, Shubham, how it has changed now. So, that time it was momentum that was kind of done each year, and each student got an opportunity for 15 minutes. Now, what we've done is each student, right from the beginning, just like the way it happened in your time, gets one faculty member as a mentor, right,
Yeah,
which guides the student for uh, how to navigate through the program and the MBA program and life ahead. Interestingly, we now also have one industry mentor
oh,
allotted to each student.
well, that's
And
nice.
this mentor is the mentor of the student, right, for the entire duration of the program. So earlier, when that access was only a few minutes or hours, now the students, they meet up with their industry mentors each month, at least once, and seek their inputs. And this process is also kind of facilitated by the placecom team. And
Good
yeah,
to hear that. Good to
yeah,
hear that.
that's there. And then to everyone doing various kind of psychometric analysis on seeing, am I a good team player, am I a leader, what kind of leadership style I have, what are my skill sets, and then very consciously using the adjectives for oneself. So this entire thing on personal journey for excellence, right, and the kind of skill sets supporting each individual journey becomes very important. So Shubham, I'm mindful of the time. Just a last quick comment from you to everyone who is onto this call.
I'm gonna say all the very best for your future. Don't take too much stress about it if you have not figured it out, because there are some experiences that life will teach you, something that life will, guide you about it, and one day you will get a more clarity about your life. So all the very best for your future, and excel as much as you can. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and I think education system is also changing with the same. Like my talk with Jaskiran ma'am after a very long time has taught me like there are a lot of things that are happening in the college now, and it has increased to an exponential level. So once I visit campus, maybe next month during the reunion, I would like to see that and be amazed
Yes,
about it.
Shubham, that would be great. And I'm sure all your juniors here on campus would be very excited to see and connect with you. And to everyone here, believe you me, Shubham was not like this when he was in the program. He was one of the naughtiest person in the class. And I'm surprised that he says that he still is naughty, though he's looking very serious onto the call. But Shubham, I'm so very happy to see you, right? Heartening to see the difference that you're making to the lives of your peers, to the organization, to the community around, right? So God bless you.
Thank
And
you.
to everyone onto this call, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll be more than happy to answer and take up more questions should you have any. Share them with the people in BMU who you are in touch with. And we'll be happy to take them up, right, Shivam?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. You can write to
Right.
me.
Have a lovely weekend, guys. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thank you, Shubham.